In Uganda, we have very many entrepreneurs, but however good ideas you have and you don't have the finance, you can't drive them.
At the United Nations Capital Development Fund, we believe that supporting the private sector in the world's least developed countries is one of the most critical ways we can achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. To help small and medium-sized enterprises access financing, we've partnered with an impact fund manager, Bamboo Capital Partners, to create a pioneering new blended finance vehicle that will attract private capital to our pipeline of businesses with the promise to deliver both high development impact and financial returns to investors.
It's about giving opportunities to people to bring the talents they have received at birth to their full fruition for the benefit of everybody. That's the goal.
It's called Build.
It's hard for many entrepreneurs in Uganda to think long term because the interest rates are exorbitant. They're talking of something like 28%.
The way my father was doing business, he could survive, but he couldn't sustain.
There's so many companies that have the ideas and just need the finance.
So our job at UNCDF is really to find these early stage promising businesses which have good growth potential and support them in their initial stages with both capital and technical assistance so that then the private sector and more commercial type of financiers can take over. I'm on a mission now to check on some of the businesses that have been identified by the country teams. We have a relatively large pipeline of potential investees here in Uganda.
UNCDF coming in to work with us is really a good opportunity for us because this is not only preparing us for future equity investors or debt financiers, but also to prove a case to other financiers that we are a business that is bankable, we are a profitable business, and we can be relied on as customers who can take up debt financing.
By this partnership with UNCDF, we fast-track the development of impact investing by 20 or 30 years. Think about the footprint. Think about the ability to source all those deals, which was actually a bottleneck for private money coming in those countries in the first place.
So where are the frames coming from?
The German.
The German. Before joining UNCDF, I was in the private sector. I spent 15 years managing businesses first, and then I switched to the investment side. Now, my job is really to work alongside our country teams to appraise the risks, both in terms of operational risk and financial risk, and understand if those businesses can be good candidates for an investment.
UNCDF does really a very thorough due diligence. As we grew, we got performance securities or bid securities, and those would be...
Which bank gave you that bid security?
It's a very challenging process because they're very critical about everything from financials to your policies as a company, the human resource, your strategy. They've highlighted out some of the key areas where we have to improve.
Whenever we go on a due diligence, on a credit score mission, we really look for two things. One is character and the other one is creditworthiness. We want to work with entrepreneurs who are transparent, who know the business, but who also have the willingness to repay. And we want, of course, to support companies which have the ability to repay.
We are only going to deploy this money where it makes sense on impact, socially, economically, environmentally, gender-wise. And if you paid back your interest and your loans in the first instance, we are going to go along the way with you. We're going to grow with you.
It is such a great feeling seeing how positive impact you've created. We feel it is not all about money, but also the happiness we're bringing in people's faces and the impact.
It's not about charity, it's about investing. We want returns for investors because if investors are happy, they're going to come back, and our $50 million fund in 10 years' time is $1 billion fund, and in 20 years' time it's a $5 or $10 billion fund. And we're not going to be alone, but we're going to be copied, and there you have a big solution to the big problems.
Always earning a living is part of what we do. but I'm just so proud that I'm part of something that is changing people's lives.